Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
I have a question for you now, Warren and Kenny, that you have passed this. What about the other individual company that came before us to speak about the stormwater ordinance and issues? And it's a whole lot bigger project than this. I realize that, and I don't have anything against this project. But we put that ordinance in effect, and I know you're not for it, but to protect the county, protect the landowners, and make sure everybody does their due diligence. Everybody's gonna, they're gonna have, each development is gonna have their own engineer. Because basically to pass anything from the state, they all have to follow state rules. They have to follow the national rules, DNR, EPA, IDEM, you name it. Some of them have to deal with NDOT, you name it. And this was put into effect to make it fair on everybody, make sure the county was protected from this, because we've had major problems with stormwater runoff. And now you've just said, okay, we don't care. So are you gonna tell everybody we don't care?
I'm going to tell everybody that we do significantly care and that we will have to look at each plan case by case. We will not be able to just give a blanket statement on everything, but I do want to make sure that this is recorded in the minutes that we do care. And we want to be responsible for the county. We want to do our best to help folks along, and we want to promote progress. I mean, that's my position.
Well, I feel like this is why we have put this in effect, and that to protect the county, protect the taxpayers,
I would agree.
and
And I
even
think there's-
protect the companies that
there's a lot
are
of good in
coming
it.
in.
I think there's a lot of good, and I would agree with you on that, Mary. But I also
Yes.
want to promote progress.
You may,
Sure. Well, since we're the other company,
yeah,
we are investing millions, hundreds of millions into this county. And we're just asking to follow your rules, and we have submitted our plans as by your Christopher Burke has drawn up. I think Jason, we worked great with Scott, Matt Holden and everybody. They don't have any questions, but it just needs to be reviewed and approved. And so that's all we're asking is that we get it approved. And since you've kind of waived this one, we've had our engineers all drawn up. We've had your rules. We've followed them and submitted our plans. Now we're just asking for approval.
well, and according to the solar ordinance and that, you have already paid for professional fees for reviews, et cetera, et cetera. And for them to move forward, we still have to have an agreement. We gonna put them off longer?
I'm prepared to vote tonight, but I don't know about everyone else. Did you run all your stuff through Christopher Burke? Is that what you said?
We have submitted a review law and we have allowed them, and we're asking for them to review it. If there are any further questions that Scott and Matt don't have, because I believe it we need to, again, I don't say about their heads, but it's complicated.
Yeah, our surveyor has said,
But
our surveyor said he's not qualified. Yeah.
You listed all the list of agencies we've had to dance with. We've met all those, checked all those boxes, as well as now just submitting our stuff for your approval. And since this is the company, Elliott dealt through with no issues. This is falling right on the heels of it, same perimeters of piping and all the one that our field entrances, the access that we have when we do cross major waterways and your other major ditches and drainage, that those permits and stipulations that you provided for, put in front of us, we have put all that in that plan. We're just asking for you to have them review it so that they can be approved, or like tonight, you just approve.
Have you gotten your Rule 5 approval, Rick? Have you gotten your Rule 5 permit yet?
That one I don't-
General permit now.
Yeah.
Have you gotten your general permit? That's what I'm referring to. I know it's a new and improved Rule 5, but have you gotten that?
Everything's waiting for your stamp.
Do you know,
That's all.
have-
Our
Gibson Solar.
around here would think there wouldn't be an issue this evening, that we go ahead and have Christopher Burke and then review it, since they give you the plans up and be ready to get it approved. But since we have paid all those fees already, we have run for the area in combinations that.
Do you have your engineer here on site tonight? I didn't think so, but I didn't know. Okay. I mean, they brought in their engineer, and I'm not saying, I'm not expecting to have your engineer because it's all just developed, right? It all just developed here recently. But I am saying they brought in their engineer and he's presented to us their drainage plans and whatnot, and they're permitting.
All we're looking for is your
Well,
firm to.
and their engineer has done it in the past. I mean, this isn't new. This is long going.
The drainage board meeting, I don't know how much of it you were part of there. Scott was here as well, and there was a couple last minute pipes that needed to be changed on it. They made those alterations, so it's just waiting for the stamp. So yes, our engineering firm has drawn it up, it's been submitted, and again, Harris, what our other plan was that was approved several months ago. If it would have all been, in hindsight, and could have got it taken care of, we'd have run them both at the same time and
Sure.
not had this problem now. But you've now implemented these new changes, so you want to be able to make sure we're all good to go with all of that. So we're just asking for approval that Christopher Burke review it, you guys put your stamp on it, or you've altered it now that we can maybe just get a stamp to go. Any other questions if Jason or them are still on that might have?
And Rick, in fairness to your project, am I correct in thinking that you will plant grass and you will have, there's a term for it, you'll have vegetation, so you're actually going to be, most likely, you're going to be taking some preventive measures to reduce stormwater?
Right, it has to be.
Am I right?
Under all of our panels and all those.
Okay. Okay,
And they have even, there were some studies, I think, required of us as to project on these yearly, 10-year, 100-year, 50-year plans of what those runoffs could be.
so you're going to, and I know the new permitting that Melissa referred to. Melissa, would you elaborate on that just a little bit? It's my, Melissa, come on. She's a smart gal. Don't let her fool you. Melissa, it's my understanding that the state has said you cannot create more runoff when you construct or develop a piece of property. Is that correct?
When you repeat that.
When you develop or construct or have a construction project on a parcel or a piece of property, you cannot create more runoff than was previously monitored on that site. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I feel like you've already toed the line.
Pre and post.
Yes. I feel like you are towing the line. I feel like you're following the state laws. I have no problem with your project.
One more.
I'll make a motion. Are you, Rick, are you, I'm ready to make a motion. If
Sure.
I make a motion that we approve the Gibson project and waive their stormwater requirements.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm sorry, Rick, I have to say no because, I feel like we are totally failing the county by doing this. But I definitely want to see the forward motion.
Still.
Want to get Jason back up on this political signage?
Thank you,
I'm
Rick.
here. I'm here. So the relevant language, I'm going to read the substantive language into the record and ask that it be approved. This was discussed at the last meeting. It was also discussed at the May 6th meeting. The relevant language reads as follows. Signs are hereby prohibited on the courthouse lawn from the west curb on Main Street and going inward, the north curb on Broadway Street and going inward, the south curb on State Street and going inward, and the east curb on Hart Street and going inward. So that's, and it is prohibiting all signage, political or otherwise. It's not content based, it's content neutral. So that's what you'd be approving tonight if you approve the ordinance that I drafted.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.
Yeah, and thanks for the information, all the other, Jason. We
Yes.
need to take a look at it, but thanks.
You're welcome.
What's this last thing? The right of entry grant for NDOT.
And that's a me item too. So this is at the intersection of Main Street and State Street. They are taking an easement, they be in the state of Indiana, are asking for an easement there for ADA compliance. It's amounts to 1,813 square feet. I have reviewed the proposed easement and approve of it. I believe that Mary has also been in communication with the state representative regarding this. So
For
really not a,
easy clarity, Jason, it's the sidewalk. Because
is.
when the state is coming in to redo Main Street, and they are required by state law
With the ADA.
to make sure that those are ADA compliance, and that compliance on that corner is old enough. It
Yeah.
does not meet the new code.
Yeah.
So they have to change it, and anytime in the future, they would also have to do it. And it's just easement basically on the sidewalk.
So we just need to vote on that then, right?
Correct.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement.
I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, that's dinner. Now then, you wanted to say something, right? What's your name?
Mark Sternbach, here when he's focused. Even when he's focused, it's work for him. I could, a couple items. But concerning the political signage that you just discussed, just for the record, I am a declared candidate for school board, so, but I'm asking this as a resident. I understand you can pass an ordinance as far as signage on the courthouse lawn. But my question is, I guess for your attorney, is that since you're opening up the courthouse as a polling center, doesn't election law sort of trump what you want to do as far as signage on the courthouse lawn? I mean, since election law does allow signage within a certain amount of feet of the entrance and stuff like that, wouldn't that trump?
You're saying, you're asking, is our ordinance in a line with state election laws? Correct?
Concerning the courthouse being used.
Right. You just want to know that the two are in alignment with one another, and neither one of them are like in opposition, correct? Okay.
Correct.
Right. That makes sense.
The answer is that the ordinance that was just approved is not inconsistent with state law from my analysis. Any unit of government or private organization that is a polling location can have can prohibit signage on their property. So the law that you referenced talks about how close you can get to the terminology used by state law is the shoot. But we're essentially saying political signs, nobody can put that advertising material or whatever it may be in the form of a sign on county property. Not
On this-
inconsistent. Not
On this
inconsistent.
is the courthouse square.
Courthouse, yes, specifically the courthouse property. So not inconsistent with the state law.
Like I said, I was just,
Clarification.
Just one question. Okay, the two issues that I came up today with, one is the Bridge of Honor and the other one is EMS building. To make everything short and sweet, it's late. I've been discussing with Commissioner Fleetwood, some of the progress we made on the Bridge of Honor, and listed various things that we've done and all of it, at no expense to the county. It was all volunteer and donated. But, there's a couple of things I would like to ask from the county tonight. One is, there's damaged stone at the flag retirement bird pit there. And if I have the commissioner's permission, I will replace that at my expense. But I would just need the commissioner's permission to do that. Then the second item, I shot some pictures to Commissioner Fleetwood. I think once we get the gravel, town Fort Branch has already agreed to move that gravel out, open up the parking. And I think if I can get the county to provide signage at the entrance, you know, on both sides of the entrance. And basically what I was looking at, you know, a simple sign, like you've got like green background, white lettering sign, bridge line on the bridge itself. And I was just thinking signs like that, and then a little sign underneath that says parking, point and arrow, you know, something simple. And I would prefer to put it like on the utility poles right there, but if we're not allowed to do that, then stick it on you know, signpost right there in the corner. So that would be something I would like the county to provide. So those are my two requests considering the bridge monitor.
Wish George was here.
I was gonna say, I would actually want to consult with George to see, because I know they have some rules and regs that, you know, they kind of have to follow on some of this stuff. So you know, I think we need to talk to George and find out before.
Have you
we
met
do
George
anything.
yet? George Pickersgill is a super guy
Yeah.
and loves veterans.
I'm just
Yeah.
really
Right.
planning
Uh-huh.
and way to shoot. Okay, I don't know if you want to just talk about it further or whatever, but.
Would you be willing to meet with George and discuss your plans and then I'll talk to him, or all of us will talk to him, for sure. That'd be great.
All right. And then the other thing, concerning the EMS building. I was here a few months ago, and Mr. Pond was here before the commissioners a few times and from the insurance a few times. And he always brought up the, you know, we had X amount of dollars that we, runs that we made, no one were able to collect, you know, about half of that stuff. And I was wondering if there was a better way that the county could get their money back. So I did some checking, and one resource that I don't think ever been addressed is township trustee. Because the township trustee, they have their own quarterly fund, you know, that pays for, you know, groceries, rent, stuff like that. And I approached my township trustee, new township trustee, and asked her, you know, if somebody came to you with an ambulance bill, would you, you know, pay it or whatever? And she goes, yeah, they would come to us. And at least one of your trustees is willing to actually look at it and maybe pay it. So I brought that to Ms. Mason, who does the billing, and I wouldn't say she was rude, but she was rather smug when I mentioned that to her. You know, about having the township trustee possibly pay for the building instead of going collections. And basically her quote, when I mentioned the trustee, her basic quote was, well, if they don't pay, we just send a collection. I mean, it's just, I didn't get a warm feeling from that. So what I would suggest for the commissioners to do, as far as EMS billing, is prior to collections, let each of the clients or the customers know who their township trustee is. And say, this is one person that if you need help paying this bill, try them. And I think that approach is taken before it goes to collections. I think you'll actually get more money paid on it and more money available for county business than what you ever get out of collections. But that's just my suggestion to the commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last thing I have is a medical leave.
Oh, it wasn't on the list. Oh, we
I know.
got through a meeting
Mike
without
put her-
one.
Mike put her on my list, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right, so it is approved. Go to the next thing.
It is. I
Adjournment.
make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Uh,
Aye.